Behind the scenes, Bungie has been grinding away and getting ready for Lightfall. In preparation for that, we're going to start seeing a lot of upcoming changes to mods, abilities, subclasses, and even how resilience works. But I'm sure you knew this already from the last two TWABs, along with various articles that have been released. If not, hey, Bungie's about to go wild with all sorts of stuff in Lightfall. Yeah. In last week's TWAB, Bungie said they've been playtesting some ability changes to address a few outliers in both PvE and PvP, which went live in the patch today. More specifically, they stated class ability uptime has inflated significantly in their Crucible over the last year, so they're increasing the base cooldown of the Thruster, Barricade, and the Hunter's Marksman and Gambler's Dodge by 20%. I know this seems like quite a bit, but keep in mind it sounds much worse at base cooldown. And let's be real, who the hell is out here using the base cooldown on anything in Destiny? For real. This does bring up another point, kinda off topic though, and I'm only speculating here, but these changes might tie into some of the stuff that was mentioned in an article yesterday from Tim Clark over at PC Gamer, where Rodney Thompson, the lead designer at Bungie, said they're making some changes to resilience and how it works with damage reduction by tuning it down from 40 to 30% at 10 resilience, along with changing the return on investment at lower tiers. So having max resilience might be a thing of the past, which could in return hurt the Titan Barricade cooldown even more. And once again, this might be why they only went with a 20% hit to these class abilities instead of more. They mentioned resilience in the article, but we could see changes to other stats in the future, like mobility as well. Then again, I have no proof that the article and the class ability changes are even remotely tied together, so take it with a grain of salt. It is a good read though, and talks about some other nerfs like Font of Might, so I'll leave a link for that article in the description. Going back to the TWAB and this patch, they also said they're taking a harder swing at the Storm Grenade perk on Touch of Thunder by reducing the damage by 25% and making it significantly easier to avoid the roaming storm by decreasing its tracking speed and distance. They actually changed it quite a bit. The roaming lightning strike damage was reduced from 40 to 30. They added 0.24 second delay on roaming storm creation after the primary grenade detonation, reduced the travel speed to 3 meters a second, down from 3.5, but it starts at 1.5 meters and ramps up. They've also reduced the tracking range on startup, so it gradually increases in size over 2 seconds. They weren't joking on the significantly easier to avoid part, but this is all on paper. I'll need to get out there and test it some more before I come up with a real conclusion. But wait, there's more. Bungie also said they're calling out the Titan's ramparts and addressing them when Lightfall drops by increasing the Barricade cooldown by 70% while they're equipped, and increase the amount of damage players deal to the Barricade by 25%. It said when Lightfall drops, but this came today. This one is massive, and I honestly didn't know it was that big of a problem, but then again, I've also heard it was more of an issue on console, so I'm not sure. Or maybe I just get lucky in my lobbies. Regardless, this now turns that Barricade into tissue paper or your grandmama's skin and takes, I shouldn't say grandmama, and takes forever to recharge. With 180 RPM kinetic hand cannon, it went from 10 shots to destroy it, along with a 17-second cooldown, to something like 2 shots and a 45-minute recharge. Seriously though, I didn't get a chance to test this or the new Storm Grenade changes before Bungie was brought back offline again due to some Triumph issues. Update. I was able to somewhat test the Storm Grenade in Titan's ramparts after the servers came back online, but I'm not exactly sure if they rolled back some of these changes as well. If the Storm Grenade has been updated, it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's definitely slower, but not dead. And the Titan's ramparts takes 2 shots less to destroy it with a kinetic 180 RPM hand cannon. It also takes 34 seconds to cool down, so it's not 45 minutes like I predicted. Keep in mind though, if you're using Bastion on the Void subclass, the recharge rate goes up 240%. Okay, back to our regular scheduled programming. But I think Bungie went a little overboard here. I don't know about you, but I feel some type of way about these changes, seeing as it's mostly directed at Titans. And now you see why I'm talking about the patch that went live today. Here's a comparison of the class abilities before and after with side-by-side videos for your viewing pleasure, but keep in mind this is all subject to change again when Lightfall releases. For reference, the Towering Barricade went from 40 to 48 seconds, Rally went from 32 to 38, Thruster went from 30 to 36, the Marksman's Dodge went from 29 to 34, and the Gambler's Dodge went from 38 to 46. All the numbers I just mentioned apply to the base cooldown, which is tier 3, but since I'm an actual guardian, I tested all this using 10 resilience for the Titan and 10 mobility for the Hunter, which is a 50% reduction without any other buffs active, so here are my numbers. The Towering Barricade went from 17 to 20, the Rally went from 14 to 17, and the Thruster went from 12 to 15. Moving over to the Hunter, the Marksman's Dodge went from 14 to 17, and the Gambler's Dodge went from 19 to 23, so I wouldn't exactly call this a major nerf, it's more of an annoyance. In PvP, this is a different story though, because it might be the difference between surviving for the next gunfight or becoming part of someone's montage, and nobody wants that. It's just embarrassing, I've been part of one before, trust me, you want nothing to do with that. Bungie dropped a whole bunch of stuff in this patch, like restoring Rumble as its own game mode, and removing it from weekly rotation, some SMG, sidearm, and pulse rifle changes. Gambit reputation gains increased by 50%. We even got some airborne effectiveness changes and the dreaded Blue Ingram removal, but I was more focused on my beloved Titan getting beat down in this one. It's a travesty, an outrage, we've been bamboozled. Seriously though, it's a lot to take in, and I'm sure we have more coming over the next few weeks. I'll try to keep up with all the news since I don't really want to make a build video right before everything gets overhauled. That would just kind of be weird, I guess, in my head. Remember to be good to one another and have a fantastic day. Thank you!
I don't fucking take smoke, I'ma poke a hole through you, choking's overdue. Come at me and you won't get any older, dude, crack your holder too. Heating up inside of me, blood so violently, thanks for trying me. Now it's finally time to see how this rivalry becomes a dynasty.